Hello guys, let's start the session. Just give me 1-2 minutes more. People let them join. Meanwhile, you guys can have chit chat with me or anything you want to discuss. We can have a discussion. So let me open the meanwhile things which I need to discuss you all. So where is my training document? So this is my training document. And PanOS, we should have the packet flow. Okay, so let me share my screen. And what we discussed last time, we discussed about the zones. We discussed about the layer 2. Now let's discuss about the sub interface, inter-VLAN routing as well, right? And we'll discuss some special type of the interface, that is a virtual wire and tab. Let's see how much we are going to cover today. So let me meanwhile start the labs. So which lab I need to start? This one I need to start. Let me erase the configuration first. Okay, so this configuration has been wiped out. Now let me start all the nodes. Okay, so we can have a discussion first about the concept, and then we'll go for the labs. Okay, this is how the things is going to, complete. First discuss the concept, then we'll do the labs. So what we have to discuss today, we'll try to understand inter-VLAN routing and the sub-interface configuration. So if I talk about the inter-VLAN routing, and followed by we'll do the sub-interface configuration lab. So what do you guys understand about the inter-VLAN routing? Anyone want to contribute, give an idea? What is inter-VLAN routing? Anyone? हिंदी इंग्लिश कुछ भी बताओ, कोई दिक्कत की बात नहीं है. We can have a discussion either way. चलो कोई बात नहीं, आप लोग नहीं बताते मैं ही बताता हूँ फिर. आप लोग शर्मा रहे हो तो हम बात कर रहे हैं जब इंटर-VLAN राउटिंग की. 1 मिनट रिकॉर्डिंग चल रही है कि नहीं मैं देख लेता हूँ. ओके, रिकॉर्डिंग इज ऑन. सो जब इंटर-VLAN राउटिंग की मैं बात कर रहा हूँ तो इसका मतलब ये होता है. उससे पहले मैं एक इंपॉर्टेंट अनाउंसमेंट करता हूँ. देखो, देयर इज नो क्लास फॉर टुमारो एंड डे आफ्टर टुमारो. आप लोग को पता है कि इंडिया हैविंग द बिग फेस्टिवल होली. सो कल और परसों क्लास नहीं होंगे, ठीक है, जस्ट फॉर योर नॉलेज. फिर आप लोग क्लास थर्सडे को होगी. तो मैं जस्ट बता दिया आप लोग को, ताकि ध्यान में रहो आप लोग. तो कल हम होली सेलिब्रेशन में बिजी रहेंगे. परसों मतलब कल इवनिंग में इंडिया में आप लोग पता है कि यहाँ पे होलिका दहन होता है. सो दैट इज गोइंग टू हैपन इन टुमारो इवनिंग. और उसके लिए दिन होली है, तो होली के दिन तो आई थिंक इट शुड बी द हॉलीडे फॉर एवरीवन. ओके, नो क्लास. तो आप लोग को ज्वाइन करने की जरूरत नहीं है, जस्ट चिल. और आप लोग अगर इफ यू आर नॉट सेलिब्रेटिंग, यू आर समवेयर इन द लाइक नॉट इन इंडिया, सो आप लोग पढ़ाई कर सकते हो, राइट. बट जो लोग इंडिया में हैं, ट्राई टू सेलिब्रेट करो होली. तो अभी मैं बात कर रहा था कि व्हाट कुड बी द इंटर-VLAN राउटिंग. सो इंटर-VLAN राउटिंग इज लाइक समथिंग, लेट्स से सपोज यू हैविंग वन ऑफ द राउटर, राइट, and this router need to be connected with a different PCs, right. This router need to connect with different PCs. So how it can be connected? With the switch. So this is your switch. This router is going to connect with this one single interface, and further this interface might be going to connect with a different PC. Right? This PC could be the one PC. This is another PC. This is another PC. This is another PC. So see, multiple PCs connected, right? So we having a multiple PC connected here. So this is PC1, this is PC2, this is a PC3, this is a PC4. This PC having IP from the VLAN 30. This having IP from VLAN 20, VLAN 10, VLAN 1. So they want to communicate to each other. They want to communicate to each other. But the problem is this is the layer 2 switch. Layer 2 switch only understand the VLAN, but they don't understand the like how to make the communication between two VLANs. Connection from the one VLAN to another VLAN. So how it is possible? Is it really possible? So the answer is yes, it is possible. Let me see, it's showing my internet is unstable. Let me just check what is happening in my internet. It's pinging. Just raise me voice in case my internet lost, okay? So I'll be aware. So just assume I have to communicate with a different PC, then how it is going to be communicated? So layer 2 doesn't having capability to communicate. So to make the communication between the two different VLANs, we just need L3 devices. So L3 device could be the L3 switch or the router. So your PC should go from here. It will go from so why router on the stick? Because these interfaces, whatever the interfaces you are showing here, single interface you just make as a trunk port from the switch end side, and it is passing all the VLANs, VLAN 30, VLAN 20, VLAN 10, VLAN 1, and that is going to create the SBI or sub interfaces on this particular router. And those sub interface will be the tag with a special tagging mechanism that is known as the .1Q interface. We call .1Q interface. And in this .1Q interface, we just tag the VLAN ID so that if any communication coming from the VLANs, it will reach to the router. Will it going to identify this is coming from VLAN 10 or 30 or 20, and how I can reach to a different VLAN where they want to go. They will consult to the routing table, and based on the routing table, they will check and they will redirect to the packet. So this is how it is going to be happen. Similar thing can we do with the Palo Alto firewall? The answer is yes, we can do that. The story is same. It is not going to be changed. Your story is the same. In this story, what is happening? Your PC is this one. This need to communicate with this PC. But if this PC is going to communicate with the Tausif, please mute yourself, buddy. Okay. So again, just a reminder, there is no class today, tomorrow and day after tomorrow, because India having the holiday festival, Holy festival. So there is no class. Who join late, just for your update, tomorrow and day after, there is no class. Okay. So don't be confused. Just remember and mark your calendar. There is no class tomorrow and day after tomorrow. 7th March, 8th March, no class. Enjoy holiday. Okay.
Sir, I have one question. I have tried to open a lab, but it's not opening. It's given error.
May I know who Tosif, right?
Yes, sir.
It will work. Just check now. It will work. There was some maintenance was going on for the lab, so it
Okay.
was some. Yeah, you will try it. It will work for you. Okay.
Okay, sir. Let me try.
Okay. Okay. So now the story is going to be same. You having a two PC, they want to talk with each other. So this is the layer 2 switch. This layer 2 switch doesn't having a capability to make the connection through between these two PC. So we need a layer 3 device, which is the firewall, which is going to take a decision of the routing, and based on that, your packet will go to the firewall and it will back to the PC. And again, the interface, which is going to connect to the switch port, that is acting as a trunk port, trunk port. So when this is going to be happen, we known as the inter-VLAN routing concept on the firewall. Inter-VLAN routing on Palo Alto firewall. Let's enjoy this particular flavor, how we can achieve that. The first thing we just have to check, the PC should having this IP address. Let me check they have or not. If not, we just have to assign the IP address. Let me check it. This is the first step we have to take. This IP should be there. And the gateway should be the firewall. The gateway should be on the firewall. So let me just open this PC also. It will take some time to just complete the opening process. So this is ready. This is also ready. So let me just go on the CMD and check the IP address. CMD. There is no IP address, a PIPA IP address on this particular PC. Let me check on the PC4 also. So we just have to define the IP address. IP config. There's no IP address. Both PC doesn't having IP address. So I am the PC2. This is the PC2. So I just have to give this IP address. How? So I just go in the network properties. And after going on the properties, I have to go in the change adapter setting. This is adapter. This is property. This is IPv4, and this is my U. This is my 10.10.10.10, and this is my 255, 255. Remember, finally, we having a 10.10.10.1. It's a gateway, which is going to configure on the firewall. This is the gateway is going to configure on the firewall. No other information is going to require. Just we have done, and we are good to go. If I check again the PC IP, it should be the 10.10.10. This PC similarly I have to change the IP. So I'm on the PC4, so I'll just have to go on the adapter. Here I'll click on it, property, I will click this one, I will go and 20, 20, 20, and let's say 20. There should be the 255 and 255, 255, and this is the gateway 20.20.20.1. This has been done and we are good till here. I'll go here, and I'll just simply. So it should be having IP. See, so the IP has been taken. So if I try to ping right now from 10 to 20, it is not going to ping. See, the ping is not working. Even I try to ping the gateway itself, this PC gateway, it is not going to ping because the gateway is not configured. It's still, so the gateway is still not reachable, and it is going to happen with the both of the cases. So the end goal, we just have to, end goal is just have to make the connection between these two hosts, right? How it is going to happen? Let's do that. The first thing, we just have to configure the switch. And in this switch, we just have to configure two VLANs, and this PC should be the VLAN 10 and this should be the VLAN 20. How can do that? So let's open the switch. And after opening the switch, if I just check show VLAN brief, let me just see if there is a VLAN, and VLAN already created. See, this VLAN is already created. If you want to, let me just do from the various scratch so you guys can understand. Let me do that for you all. So we'll do from the 0 configuration. I would like to do from 0. So I just wipe the configuration. So all will be the lost. We'll start from the 0. So There is no configuration now on this particular switch. So we'll go here and we'll just change the first host name. The host name is switch 23. Now I just have to create the VLAN 10, right? And I can put any zone, like I can put the name, any name you can put. Name could be anything. VLAN 10. VLAN 10. That's okay. Name could be anything. I'll create another VLAN, VLAN 20. Name could be the VLAN 20. If you not give the name, there is no matter for you. Okay. So two VLAN I have created. Now I just assign this port on the VLAN 10, this on the VLAN 20. How can I do that? Interface Ethernet 0 by 1, switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 10. Another port is 0 by 2, switch port mode access, and this should be the 20, right? So see here, show run interface Ethernet 0 by 1, which is the VLAN is this one. On this VLAN 10, and the its neighbor port is the 0 by 2, which having the VLAN 20. So these are the different VLANs, right? But these are the access port, they're carrying the one VLANs. But this need to carry the both of the VLANs. So this need to become a trunk port. So how the trunk port is going to be configured? So just to configure the trunk port, you just have to go to the configuration, type the interface name, right? Whatever the interface, and you just have to run this command switch port trunk encapsulation. If you're not going to allow the encapsulation, your protocol is not going to work. Means trunking is not going to work. So .1q, and then okay, and then you just have to define switch port mode trunk, right? That's true command. Or if you want to allow the VLAN, if you even not going to allow, it is going to work. But if you want to allow the specific VLAN, not all VLANs, you run this command switch port trunk allowed VLAN 10 and 20. That's all. So if you show the configuration of Ethernet 0 by 0, you'll see this is the configuration of Ethernet 0 by 0. We make as a trunk. So now we are done with the configuration. And if you see the command show VLAN brief, you will see this is the VLAN 10 and 20 on this. These two ports are connected. VLAN 10, this one, see, this is the port, and VLAN 20, this one, and this is the port. You can see here. So these are connected. And if you run the trunk show interface trunk command, you will see the trunk port is this port, and this port is passing two VLANs. You can see these are trunk ports, right? Okay. So we're done with the switch configuration. Switch life is fine, but still, if you check that, your communication is not going to happen. Your communication is not going to happen. Let me show you again. So if I am going to PC2, and if I try to ping, still there would be no communication. Even the gateway is not reachable. See, and 2020 is no chance to reach. So how I can make the reachable? Now it's time to the firewall to make this reachability. So I'll go on the firewall. How on the firewall? I'll click on the firewall. Let me see. So this is a firewall. This firewall having a this IP address 27. So let me just log in it. So this firewall is going to be login with the default username and password. So I'll put admin and admin, and then I have to change it after login. So I'll just put it here. And I'll go there, admin, new password. I'll put here. And I have done with the changing of the password. Every time I have to change the password, and I will now start doing things. So we are in the firewall, right? Okay, so there is two things. The first thing, we create this port as access port, this port as access port, this is a trunk port. and single port is going to on this particular firewall. But they need to carry two VLANs information from here and from here. So this cable need to divide it into two parts, basically three parts. One is the physical and two is the logical, so that they can carry different VLAN information. So how this is going to happen? You just have to go on the interface first. What is the interface? This is the interface, which is the Ethernet 1x1. So you just have to select this interface and you just have to make this interface as a layer 3. Because if you're not going to make the layer 3 interface, you cannot assign the IP address. So we need to assign the IP address as a gateway for these PC. That is going to happen. So you just have to click interface type as a layer 3. No other configuration is going to be required. So you just make the layer 3. Once you make the layer 3, you can see there is a sub interface option is enabled. You can see here on the top below here, you can see the sub interface is enabled. Earlier it was not, right? So now the sub interface is enabled. So I can click on the sub interface. Make sure when clicking the sub interface, this is the selected one. You can see this is selected one by one. So here you just have to use any number from 1 to 999. It could be the any number, but your tag of the VLAN should be the same. Whatever the tag, 10 and 20. So better whatever the VLAN tag has, use the same number here and use the tag here, right? So one VLAN tag is 10. So I'll go and use the tag 10, and the virtual router, we will use a default. I will talk what is a virtual router, where we will place the all routings. So first, we still not discuss about the virtual router. So leave it. I'll discuss in the separate what is a virtual router. But just understand, I'll use the virtual router to do the routing as a default. It is already available in the Palo Alto firewall. Security zone. So if I talk about this VLAN 10, there is a security zone is a VLAN 10, right? So it could be anything. Whatever you want, you can just choose, but I use the security zone as a VLAN 10. So this is my VLAN 10 security zone. And now I will assign the IP address. That is a gateway, that is a 10.10.1, which is going to configure here. So I'll go here 10.10.10.1/24. Yes, question, any question?
Yeah, good.
Okay, I can see some are unmuted, so I just wanted to ask. Okay, so here is the IP address I just defined. But one magic I will show you later on, leave it. So I have done this and I click OK. So one IP is configured here for VLAN 10. Now we just have to configure the another IP address for the VLAN 20. So how it is going to happen? I will just go and create the sub interface. And here is the VLAN 20 and tag is the 20, the same thing. The virtual router will be default. Security zone will be the here. I'll create the new VLAN 20. So these two are different security zone. And here I'll define the IP address 20.20.20.1/24. And I'll click OK. And now I am done. I am done with the configuration for the interface configuration. You guys tell me, if I try to ping from this PC to this PC, now it is going to ping or not? Just doing this configuration, whatever I have done.
No, no.
Okay, so the one answer I believe from the Chirag is no. Okay, what else? Other having opinion? Tell me, guys. What other opinions have? Is it going to ping or not? Sunil is no. So Sunil's answer is also no. Okay, what others? Is it going to ping or not? Okay, let me ask another question. I'll again ask why, but before I ask another question, if I configure the gateway of these two PCs, they are going to ping gateway or not? The one IP address 10.1, 20.1, they are going to ping or not?
No.
Okay, again no. Sunil saying yes. So Chirag, why not?
Because we didn't configure the management in that is we need to check mark on the ping SSH. Then after we are
Yes.
able to configure the
Brilliant,
interface.
brilliant. I love this. So I talk about during the beginning of the session, we having the different type of the interface, management interface, different other physical interface. By default, only you can ping the management interface. Other interfaces ping is not allowed. So if I configure the IP address and I just try to ping the gateway, it is not going to ping. Let me show you. Here 20.20.20.20.1, it is not going to ping. That doesn't mean you configured something wrong. It doesn't mean you configured something wrong. This is the by default firewall behavior. Ping is by default blocked for the any other interface type except for the management. So here, if I try to ping the gateway 10.10.10.10.1, it is not working. You can see. So to fix this problem, if I just try to ping here -t, I put the continuous ping. Let me just do that for both of the side. So how we can fix the problem? First, the gateway is built. So you just have to attach the management profile. So you just go in the advanced, you just create the management profile from here, or you can directly create here from management profile. You'll see some easy, the last one, interface management. The meaning would be the same. You can see here, the interface management, the same thing. So I'll go here and create the management profile. Just put the name as a mgmt, and here I allow the ping. And if I allow the HTTPS, so even if I allow this PC can access the firewall by using this IP address, the 10.10.1. If I allow the HTTPS also, so I can allow both ping and HTTPS, and I click OK. There is some warning. Management interface, you should not allow the other interface. You should not allow any kind of the management profile. So see, there is a warning. By attaching the interface management profile to the interface, you potentially exposing the firewall administrative interface to any party that can be reached to the interface. So that is not advisable to allow the ping pong or HTTPS on the another interface which is facing toward the internet or LAN or somewhere else except the management one. So I'll click OK, and after clicking OK, I'll just commit it. And once the commit is going to happen, probably we'll see some kind of the results. Let's wait for result. See, so both gateways start pinging to each other. Both gateways start pinging to each other. But still, if I try to reach from this PC, see, from 20 to 10, it is not going to ping. It is not going to ping, right? So there is two region. One is the region is a firewall here enable. So you should always disable the firewall. So let me just fix this firewall one because this firewall should be allow. It is already allow, I believe. So this is good. So firewall is not an issue. Let me check on the other side piece. This firewall is should be allowed. You also check that if not pinging, make sure firewall is allowed. This is the one region which I know. So here is also fine. Okay. Now you guys tell me why it's not pinging. Gateway is reaching, but yeah.
Because by default, the intra zone policy is denied.
Perfect. Superb. Again, so by default, I told you the zone are different between these two interfaces. You can see this is the one zone, this is another zone. So if zone are different, by default, there is a policy, inter-zone policy. And one zone is intra-zone policy. So inter-zone policy is blocking the communication. Because by default, you see inter-zone policy say if your traffic is coming from the two different zone, inter-zone means two different zone, they are by default going to deny. But the traffic which is coming from the same zone, intra-zone, they are allowed. So they are not the same zone traffic. One is a VLAN 10, one is a VLAN 20. So we need a policy, right? So if I try to ping from this PC 20, you can see here, this is the network for IP config. This is 20. So if I try to ping 10, it is not working, right? And similar, if I go on this PC and IP config, so this is 10. If I try to ping 20 minus T, it is not working, right? But the moment when I create the policy, That is inter-region policy. So I can allow the policy from VLAN 10 to VLAN 20. This is the policy. And VLAN 10 source address, I can put 10.10.0. I can include the whole subnet instead of the one. And destination could be your VLAN 20, and I can put the subnet 20.20.20.0/24. So application any, services any, and action allow. Services default you can leave it, and but action should be allow, not deny. Okay. And then I'll click OK. When I'll do that, we'll see some kind of the result here. So let's see what is happening. But it's not pinging. Fine. What is the problem? VLAN 10 to VLAN 20, right? We did that, right? Source is this. Plus 24. Destination 2024, VLAN 20. What is the problem? Everything's fine. Okay, should ping. Let me check this PC. IP config 10 2020.20.1. Yeah, it is reachable. But 2020.20. Yeah, it is reachable. What IP earlier I was pinging?
So I think you are pinging from the 10 to
so yeah,
10 to 20.
I missed that. Okay. So see, it is reachable. Okay. But here I am pinging right one. Why it is not working? This one is not working. 10 to 20 is reachable. You can see here, but this one 20 to 10 is not working. Why?
Because there is no policy for it.
Yes. So one-way policy we created from this way. One-way policy we created, where the policy is just matching the connection which is originated by the PC2 and the PC20 just replying. So they're having a session, they just follow the session to just get the packet back to it. But when the connection is going to initiate from here, this is going to check the new session for me. Do you have a session? There's no session, there's no policy. That's why it's not pinging. So you just have to create the reverse policy also in the firewall. So the reverse policy, the moment you create, so what you can do, you can create the new policy here and you can put that from VLAN 20 to VLAN 10. And the moment you do that, source is your VLAN 20. Address is going to 20.20.20.0/24. And the destination is going to happen is 10. Just have to 10.10.10.0/24. Action services. That's fine. You just make it and then commit it. So once this commit is going to happen, probably this is also start working. See? So now we start having the both way communication, and this is how inter-VLAN routing is going to work. So you just have to create the sub interfaces. After creating the sub interfaces, you just no need to define any routing because they are the directly connected routing. So their routing will be available in the virtual router as a directly connected network. If you check in the more states, you'll see the routing is already available in the routing table. That is route table under the virtual router. This is the virtual router, which is responsible to handle the all routing information in the Palo Alto firewall. So they are just going to carry the all routing information. And after carrying those routing information, this is going to like exchange between the two hosts. Any question about this particular layer 2 inter-VLAN routing? Anyone having anything?
Yes, actually, what is the difference between this SVI and VLAN interface and when it is used?
Okay, so there is two concepts. One is the SVI, that known as the switch virtual interface. This is one thing. Another is known as the dot one queue interface, right? Dot one queue interface. Is it the same you're asking, right?
Just asking in context to Palo Alto because there is there are 4 types of interface, right? One is
Yeah.
Ethernet,
So,
VLAN. Yes.
yeah. So once we create the SVI, that we need to make this port as a trunk port where we just have to pass those VLANs, or might be the access port where we just have to pass those VLANs. So if you go in this Palo Alto firewall, if you go in the interfaces, we having the VLAN interface. So let's suppose I create one of the VLAN here, might be I create the VLAN 10 here, right? So under this VLAN 10, I can assign the IP address. So VLAN is going to be assigned different VLANs. Might be you just have to create, might be I can put the VLAN 10 here. So I'm going to assign the VLAN virtual router. I can assign anything default security zone. I can just go here and I can just go and assign the IP address similar to the 10.10.10.1/24. So this is going to happen on the VLAN 10. So see, this is the VLAN 10 configuration has been done. Now, once I have done this VLAN 10 configuration, how can I use this, right? So you just have to go on this particular interfaces, right? So let's suppose I'm going here on this particular interfaces. And after going, probably you just need to create the interfaces at layer 2, not layer 3. So you just have to go there. Might be I'm going on this interfaces. I just change the mode as a layer 2 because already you just created the SVI as a layer 3, right? So you just have to propagate those VLANs on this particular layer 2 interfaces. And again, you can create the 2 sub interfaces, might be in this way. You can create the 10 and you can create the here 10. And you just have to map the 10 VLAN. You just map the security zone. Again, might be you just have to use the layer 2 just with the VLAN 10 you have to create. So once you've done this, might be you just have to create some other number because that is already created and this is done. So now this interface start learning about the tag 10 VLANs, right? And similar, you just have to create another VLANs, might be the 20, right? And these are the 20, and the same time you just have to use the VLAN here. Again, you have to create that VLAN 20. And after creating this VLAN 20, you just have to use the security zone, new one. So this could be the VLAN 200. Just ignore it. And they are start listening to the VLAN like 20 and 10. But your actual decision is going to happen on this 2 VLANs, which you're going to create here, VLAN 10 and 20. And these are the actually interface level. Likewise, you think in the switch, let me just keep
Switch,
the idea.
yes, it is considered as a switch because it's
Yeah,
considered as an access port, right?
access port, a similar
Okay.
kind of the work. Yeah, the same
Okay.
concept. Yeah. So this is how it is going to be. It looks so 2 SBI created I just forgot to mention the IP address, and you just have to call the interface as similar to the like switch.
Okay,
So let
got
me
it.
just roll back here. Anyhow, that was a good question. I loved it. So this is how we can do that. Okay. So I believe we are good. Any other question, guys? Anything? Ask me. You having the opportunity, ask me the questions. If not, I can move on. All right, let me move on. You guys ask me later. No problem. The next thing, let's say suppose you heard about the DHCP, right? So right now, these PCs are getting IP address statically, right? But I want this should be get IP address from the DHCP, right? So first we have to understand how DHCP will work and how it is going to configure in the Palo Alto firewall and what does mean. So let me first change the mode to assignment the IP address. So I'll go here in network center. After going in network center, I'll go not here. I'll go in the property, adapter setting here in this property and IPv4. I'll change the mode here. Make it obtain IP automatically. So will this PC will get IP address? Answer for me is no, because there is no DHCP server. So now if you check the IP address, there is no IP address. It will get the APIPA IP address. This is the APIPA IP address, useless IP address. When they fail to get the IP address from the any DHCP server, they assign automatically IP address himself by saying 169 range. That is known as the APIPA IP address. So there is no DHCP. That's why they assign the APIPA IP address. So I'm going on the other PC. I will do the similar kind of stuff here, and we'll see how it is going to assign the IP address from the DHCP server. So I will go here, I will go here, I will go here, I will go here and close, and finally close. And here, if I'll check that, if IP config, probably you will see this is also assigned the IP address. See, so till now it's fine. But I want these two PCs should get the IP address from the DHCP server. So DHCP server, if I use, so the first question you should like ask me, why we need the DHCP, right? Why we need the DHCP? So if you ask me the question, even you don't ask me the question, I will try to help you out. What is the DHCP and how it is going to help you? So there is two ways of the assigning the IP address. The first way is the static IP assignment, which we done via the computer, right? Manually go on the PC, go on the IPv4 and assign the IP address. So that is the static IP address. So there's two PC. This, okay, we can assign the IP address within the 2 minutes. But let's say suppose you're having 1,000 PC and every day you just have to assign IP address. So probably you just have to spend 1,000 minutes if they all PC are nearby, or might be they are located in different locations. You just have to walk and roam every seats. It could be the 5,000 minute as well. So totally depend how your infrastructure is big or small. So it is not look something good idea to just go everywhere and assign the PC. So to make it dynamic, dynamic, there is a process that is known as a DHCP, right? DHCP basically it's a dynamic IP assignment process, right? And in this dynamic assignment process, you no need to assign the IP address statically for the PC. You just configure the DHCP server in your network, and those DHCP server, you configure it, and from those DHCP server, different client will get automatically IP address. And how they will get the IP address? To get this IP address, they follow the process that is known as the DORA process. DORA process, that D is equal to, we call it a discover, O is equal to offer, R is equal to request, and the A is equal to, you can say, acknowledgement, right? So this is the DORA process. So whenever we go for the any of the communication for the any kind of the like DHCP, they always follow the DORA process. In this DORA process, what is going to happen? One of the client or PC is going to be here, and there is your DHCP server, right? This is your DHCP server. So in this DHCP server, the first discovery request is going to be sent to this particular PC to the server. So this is a discovery request. Discover request is going to be sent. Once this server will request the discover request, likewise, this PC is trying to send continuous discovery request because they are trying to get the IP address, but they are not getting because there is no DHCP servers. But in case you having a DHCP server, once you request the discovery, they will offer some parameters, some message, right? Okay, that's fine. We having a subnet, we can try to give you, but we need to check some additional details. And based on that additional detail, they will try to get some information. So once this offer is going to reach to this PC, then it will say, okay, your offer is accepted. Can you just give me IP address? So it is going to request offer accepted, and it is requested for the IP. Once this server will like receive that request, right? Then it is going to release the IP address and it will acknowledge everything is done, and that is acknowledgement is going to be happen. So this is how DORA is going to happen: discovery, offer, request, and acknowledgement between two client and PC. And this every step they are going to get the IP. So discovery is IP address request. So in discovery, once it is going to happen, they request the IP address here. The first packet itself is the, let me just okay, you understand, IP address request is going to happen in discovery in the first message, and now DHCP will offer the IP address. Once the IP address is going to offer, that DHCP client will going to select the IP address, right? And based on that selection, like server is going to be finally, a PC is going to acknowledge that. I just draw somehow opposite. Let me draw it correctly, okay? My direction is wrong, I know. So that's why I confused. This is a PC again, and this is server again, right? Don't be confused. I even confused while drawing the packet. So whenever PC is going to discover requests, so he need the IP address. So this is going to discovery request. This is the first packet, discover. That means they are asking the IP address. Now the second packet is going to come from the server. They will offer the IP address. So it is going to offer the IP address. DORA offer the IP address. Then in third step, they will select the IP address. PC will select the IP address. After selecting the IP address, okay, I have selected the one of the IP address, and after selection has been done, request completed, and then DHCP will acknowledge whatever the IP they selected, and IP address assignment has been done. So this is how it is going to happen. So don't be confused. So same thing we are going to use here in our lab. How it is going to happen in DORA process, let's understand. So these PCs are not getting IP address. So I'm going in the firewall and I will try to assign the IP address from the DORA process. How it is going to happen, I will go on the interface level. And after going on the interface level, I will go on the IPv4. After going on the IPv4, not here, sorry for that, not IPv4. I will go in the DHCP section. And here you can see that there's a DHCP server, one is a DHCP relay. So if I want to make this Palo Alto firewall a DHCP server, I need to do the configuration here. If I want to integrate some third-party DHCP server outside of the Palo Alto, then I have to use a DHCP relay. Similar to the IP helper you have seen in your router and switch configuration. That is a relay is going to act as similar to your routing switching world. So here I'll go there. After going in this particular, I will try to enable the DHCP server on the interface. Which interface? I have two interfaces. The interface which is VLAN 10 and 20. So I will go here and assign the VLAN 10 first. The mode could be the auto, could be the enable, could be disable. So if you enable, your DHCP is going to be enabled. If auto, that means if any additional DHCP is running on this particular interface, that is going to be replaced by the new one. So that is auto. So better you use the enable. Disable is definitely disable it. Ping, if you enable this one, that means whenever the IP is going to allocated to the device, the firewall will try to ping it. Don't need. I am not going to do that. It's optional. Lease time unlimited or timeout means when the IP is going to assign to any client, how much time it will hold the IP address. So if you put the unlimited, that means once the IP has been assigned, it will always to be that PC until it is going to be dead. So that is unlimited. If you set some timeout, that means after some timeout, it is going to be expire and you have to get the new IP address. So better I'll use the unlimited because we don't have any issue. We are in the lab. Now it is asking from which range you want to assign the IP address. So definitely we having a subnet that is a 10.10.10.0 to 255.255.0. So how many usable hosts we have? 256 total IP address minus 2. So total usable host is 254, right? So it is going to use 1 use usable, 2 use usable, 3 use usable, like that until it will go to 254. This is usable IP address. So might be from first 10 IP address, I'll reserve for my, see, one IP address is configured here. Similar, I can use some 10 IP address for my different purpose, and I'll create one pool after reserving those IP address. So from that pool only the IP address is going to be assigned. So how it is going to happen? I will go in the Palo Alto firewall and here I'll create the pool. The pool would be first 10 IP address I exclude. So I'll start from the 10 or 11 and then I'll put the last IP address is 254. So the assignment of the IP is going to happen from this range. Below 11, there is no IP assignment is going to happen. From 11 to 254, only IP assignment is going to happen. So IP pool is going to happen here. If any IP you want to put the static mapping for the MAC level for static IP assignment, that is also possible. So we are not going to do here. Now, once you create the pool, enable the DHCP here, you just have to go and you just have to define what is the gateway. Once the user will get the IP address, that is 10.10.10.1. And what is this gateway subnet mask? 255, 255, 255.0. This you have to do. And after that, you just have to commit OK and commit. Once you do commit, your DHCP configuration has been done and probably your PC will start getting the IP address. Let me see. Right, so almost we are done. The configuration has been done. If you see the view all equation, still there is trying to get some data, no leads. But if I go on this particular PC, I will try to check the IP config. There is no IP configuration still. So there is a command IP config renew, right? If you run here, it will try to get the IP address automatically. Just have to run this IP config renew, or you just have to start the machine and it will get the IP address. So just wait for that. So see, this PC get an IP address, see, and from which range? 10.10.10.11. This is the range, this is the IP address, and this is the gateway. They receive that. So now if we try to ping the gateway is going to be reachable because the PC get the IP address, but the other PC didn't get 20, still not having the IP address because we not configure the DHCP for that. So we need to configure. Now, if you check the leech allocation, you'll find this IP has been allocated for this MAC address and host name is this, and what time, what duration, everything is showing here. So now this PC 10 having the IP address because we configure the local DHCP server for the 10 subnet, right? Similar, we just have to configure the another subnet. Similar, we just have to configure the another subnet for the 20 PC, 20 subnet PC. So how it is going to happen? So we just have to go and add the network. Here I'll select this one. Let me see. Okay. So here I'll go here and I'll just select this one. And after I'll just go enable. Here I'll select any random range. Might be I want to get the IP address from 200 to 20.20.20.254. This is my range, right? So optional I'll go and gateway should be configured 20.20.20.1. Subnet mask 255 to 55 to 55.0. And I'll click OK. And I'll just commit. Once this is going to happen, this PC also will get the IP address. See, there is no IP address. Let them commit, and probably after commit, it will get the IP address also. So if this commit has been done, after this commit has been done, if you check, there is no IP address. So again, either you restart the PC or might be just run the command renew. Once you do that, it will again process the DORA process, the discovery, offer, request, and acknowledgement. And after all the parameters going to agree, they will get the IP address. This has been done. And if I check, now you see, they received the IP address. Already they are showing the IP address starting from the 200. You can see here, this is the IP address they are getting. That is a 200 IP address. So now we know that this PC having a 200 IP address, another PC having a 11 IP address, try to reach from one side to another side and see it is going to work. So I'll try to ping 10.10.10.11 and see it is pinging. So this PC able to ping this PC because they're having the IP address of 11. If I try on this PC from this 200 IP address, let me just check here. So I'll go and ping here from 20.20.20.200. It is pinging also. And see exactly the assignment. It is started from 200 because we allocated from 11 and 200. The first IP they have taken. And if you see the VO allocation, the allocation is showing also here. So this is how local DHCP is going to be configured. Now, if you having some additional DHCP server hosted in the somewhere else, so you just have to configure DHCP relay. And in DHCP relay, you just have to assign the interfaces and whatever the DHCP server you have, just put the IP address, any server, whatever primary, secondary, whatever server you have, just put that information and just click OK. That's all, because it is failing because they already having the IP address configured for the local DHCP. That's why it's getting error. But once you remove that, let me just clear this. Let me just delete one. And I want to configure for the global one. So I can just delete it. Once I delete it, so now if I configure the DHCP relay for this one, that is somewhere in the internet, I want to use as a DHCP server, that 1.1.1. If I go here 8.8.8, and if I click, so if any PC coming from this 10.10, it will not get the IP from the local because there is no local DHCP. It will try to go to the your DHCP server, which is hosted in somewhere your data center, cloud, anywhere, and from there they will get the IP address. So that is going to relay is going to configure. So we don't test it because we don't have DHCP server available in the our network. But yes, if we have, it's very easy. Just select the interface and just put the IP address. 2-line command you just give and the configuration has been done. So this is about the DHCP. Any question? Anything about DHCP? Okay. So I hope you guys understand. Yusuf, Yavar, Tausif, Sunil, Rajat, you guys listening me or not?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. सब बढ़िया जा रहा है, समझ आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है, बताओ यार.
सर आ रहे हैं समझ में, बट थोड़ा ड्राइविंग भी कर रहा हूँ तो मैं आपको क्वेश्चंस नहीं पूछ पा रहा हूँ. गिव मी सम टाइम, लेट मी.
अच्छा, कोई बात नहीं, कोई बात नहीं. टेक योर टाइम, ठीक है. और जिसका बाकी लोग तो पूछ रहे हैं, कई लोग का मैंने नाम नहीं लिया. सो यू गाइज ट्राई टू आस्क द क्वेश्चंस. अगर नहीं समझ में आता है तो आई नो कि कई लोग ऑफिस में होते हैं, कई लोग कहीं बाहर होते हैं, तो कई बार क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछ पाते हैं. बट कोई बात नहीं, जब बाद में भी क्वेश्चन है तो पूछ लेना आप मेरे से.
तो वन मोर क्वेश्चन था, आपका नंबर मिल सकता है क्या? इफ एनी वन रिगार्डिंग एनी क्वेश्चंस तो पर्सनली.
ओके, कोई बात नहीं. आपको कोई भी क्वेश्चन होगा तो आपको जब भी बात करना होगा तब बात कर सकते हैं मेरे से, कोई दिक्कत की बात नहीं. मैं नंबर एक दे दूंगा आपको, आप मेरे को व्हाट्सएप कर सकते हैं, आप कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं. ठीक है, वी कैन डिस्कस. ओके.
श्योर.
I know people having the office and all. No problem. I know you guys are listening, so there is no problem for me. So we understand about this sub interface and DHCP and inter-VLAN routing. Still, we not discuss about the virtual router, right? And there is no class for next 2 days, so I will extend today class a little bit more. So next 30 minutes, what we are going to discuss about the virtual router, one of the interface type, that is a tap mode. Okay. So first, let me start the lab for the tap mode interface, and I'll explain the functionality of the tap mode interface. Let me just close it, and we'll discuss the virtual router. Meanwhile, the lab is getting started. So I'll close it. And here is my lab, that is a tap mode. Let me wipe the configuration and let me start the lab. Okay, two things we just have to understand. First, I'll explain what is a virtual router, okay? And I'll show you later stage how it is going to be looks like. So if I am talking about the concept of the virtual router, let me just write here. Virtual router, right? So this is one concept. This is the another is a virtual routing forwarding. Virtual routing forwarding, right? VRF. So this is a VRF. This is the again in SD-WAN we know that the VPN, virtual private network, or similar to the VRF. VPN is a virtual private network. So these all are the virtual. Virtual means they are not physical box. We have to do some kind of the virtualization, right? So what is this virtualization? So if I'm talking about the VRF, so what is the concept of the VRF? So let's suppose you having the one router, and in this router, how many routing table we have? Just one routing table. Just one routing table, which we called as a global routing table, right? Every router having just one routing table, which we call the global routing table. Let me just mute. Oh, okay. So every router having just one routing table. For Tausif, please mute yourself. A lot of background noise coming. Tausif, mute yourself. I'm muting again. It's getting unmute. So every router having just one routing table. Let me just add just one routing table right here. And based on that routing table, every decision is going to be happen. And Cisco we called as a global routing table. But if I want to make a multiple routing table in this particular router, then how it is going to happen? I want to make one routing table, two routing table, three routing tables, 4, 5 routing table. So this is my one routing table. This could be the 2, this could be the 3, this could be the 4, this could be the 5. So this router have the now 5 routing table. The hardware is same. The hardware is same. Hardware is same. And routing capacity is also same. Routing capacity is also same. But still, we have multiple route. Sorry guys, I lost somehow. Can someone tell where you guys listen me? Somehow my mic disconnected, means network disconnected.
So you just started to explain we can like divide means multiple routers or multiple routing tables on a same physical box.
I don't know what is happening. I'm losing and again. Shit. Let me check, guys. Let me make this. See if in evening time, I don't know why ISP having such problem. They'll keep losing the packets. Just give me one. Let me. Okay, looks fine, stable. We can continue. Momentum break when internet break. Okay, so every device having their own capacity. Based on the capacity, we can divide the multiple routing table. But even after dividing the multiple, we just have one routing table as a global. Rest can be the virtual. Okay, so this is how the hardware can be divided into the multiple routing table. So if I do some routing on this routing table, this is not going to be known by this, not known by this, not known by this, not known by this. All are the isolated unit. Similar thing is going to happen in the Palo Alto firewall. Palo Alto firewall come with the one box, right? The hardware is going to be one. Hardware is single unit, right? Single unit hardware. But in this single unit hardware, by default, again, I'm repeating, by default, we having one virtual router, which is responsible to do routing. So by default, we having one router, which is responsible to do routing, right? But if you want to make again a multiple router, right? So the default router, which is do the default routing, which name is again default. The name would be also default, which I showed you. By default, we having one virtual router, which name is again a default router. The router name would be by default is a default router. Name can be changed. We can make any name change later on. I'll show you how it is going to happen. But if you want to create the multiple router, it is also possible. If you want to create the multiple router, multiple router, it's possible, right? It's possible, but it depends on the hardware limitations. Model to model depend what model you are using. So see, if you're using this firewall, a small firewall, this is the firewall 220. You can create up to 3 virtual routers only. So this firewall can be run 3 virtual router, not more than 3 virtual router. If you go this one, it can run 5 virtual router, PA820. If you go bigger one, it will run 10 virtual routers, right? If you go here, it will run 225 virtual routers. If you go here, it will run 225 virtual. That is the maximum virtual router. Means the one firewall can have the up to 225 virtual router, but it's totally depend on the model of the firewall. So similar thing, if you check the firewalls, whatever the firewall we have in this firewall section, we having the virtual router. So I can try to log in this particular firewall 26 HTTPS. And if I show you, let me just change the password. I just change it from here. Admin. I can put password. Once my password will change, I will just log in it here. network. And if you go in the network, you're having the virtual router. You can see here. And this virtual router by default, one router is there, which name is default, which I told here in my write-up. You can see here, every virtual router, every router having the one virtual router, which name is default router, right? So by default, we having one virtual router, which name is default router. But if you want to change the name, I can change any name, like lab. So it will become the lab router. See, my name has been changed. See the lab. So you can change it. There's no problem. You can change it. If you want to create the new router, you can create here another router. That is a test VR. That is a virtual router is a VR. So you have another VR here. So now in this particular router, we are having a two virtual routers. So they have two different routing engines, right? Similarly, if I want to add one more test 3, probably it is not going to allow, because this is the maximum number of virtual router we have created. This is lab, no license, and the VM. So only support 2 virtual router maximum. However, PA220 support 3. So we cannot create more than 2. So this is how virtual router can be created. Okay. If you want to revert the changes, whatever revert changes you have done, just click on the revert all changes, and the configuration will be reverted and it will be back to the default configuration, right? So now it's back to default configuration. So here is the virtual router, and in this router, every routing table has been like routing configuration can be done. Might be the static routing, might be the RIP routing, might be the OSPF, might be the BGP, multicast, redistribution, everything can be done. So we'll keep configuring the different routing protocol also while doing the lab in later stage, but this is how routing is going to be configured and how this routing is looks like. And if you want to check the real-time routing, create the more runtime states, you can see the route table, you can check the forwarding table, and you can see the RIP routings, interfaces, peers, OSPF, area, neighbor, virtual link, virtual, everything you can find it here for the different routing protocols. So this is the virtual router, how this is going to be configured, right? So I hope you guys understand what is a virtual router, at least in terms of the Palo Alto firewall. More similar, it's the having hardware, but in the side of the hardware, we just place the virtual router inside of the hardware, which is responsible to do the routing. So that's why we call it as a virtual router. Now moving to the next, we having the special type of the zone or a special type of the interface, which is known as the tap mode. So why we use a tap mode? So tap mode is the very special requirement, because when we want to monitor any communication from PC to the internet. So let's say suppose you want to monitor the communication from this PC to the internet. So how you can monitor that? I want to check what PC is doing while communicating to the internet. So if you having a such kind of requirement, you want to capture the packet for this interface or this interface, whatever the communication is going to happen, you just have to use the firewall deployment as a tap mode. So let me show you how it is going to happen. So in this PC, if I try to check, might be having some kind of the IP address. Let me check. Yeah, it has. So this PC will keep talking to the internet. So if I'm going on the internet, I will try to ping this 1.1.1. See, there is internet reachability. No major configuration. Only these all ports are in the VLAN 1. You can see, because this IP is assigned to 10 here. There is no configuration for this particular VLAN. Just assign another IP address. These are acting as a layer 2, and just configure the virtual loopback on the routers. So let me show you the configuration if you want to do that. So here is, you can see only few interface I configured for the testing purpose. These are loopback, and this is the IP address configured here. If you check the routing, there is no routing, no static, no dynamic, nothing is configured. Only the loopbacks are configured and interface IP is configured. On this interface, you can say this is the configuration. So in this particular router, no configuration is there. Only the interface level or loopback level configuration. If you check on the switch having only show VLAN brief. You say only VLAN 1 and all port are part of VLAN 1. So no configuration of the switch. So nothing you have to do on the switch also. But on the PC, you just have to assign the IP address. And after doing this, you just having the internet connection. So now I want whatever the communication is going to happen between these two PCs and the switch via switch to the internet, I want to monitor them. How it is possible? So there is a concept which is known as a span in the CCNP ENCOR. You might be heard as like span concept. There's two concept, that is a span and the R span. So you just have to use the span or either the R span. This is for the remote and this is for the local to the switch. And by capturing the traffic from these two ports or one ports, you send those traffic to this particular interface. So they will reach to the firewall and firewall will capture this particular traffic. This is only for the troubleshooting purpose, could be monitoring purpose, could be, or you want to analyze what my user are doing. So this is what it is going to happen. So how this configuration is going to happen on the Palo Alto firewall, basically on switch. So you just have to go in the switch. You just have to run the configuration, right? You just have to run the configuration, monitor. You can use the session command, and then you just have to use any of the numbers. So I can use the like number 20, and I will say whatever the traffic is coming from source, which source, that is the interface GE 0 by 0. So GE 0 by 0. I'm saying whatever the traffic coming from this interface, either it's going out or it's coming in. So TX or RX or both. So I will use both keyword. Means whatever traffic is receiving on this particular interface, either direction I want to monitor. What monitor करने के बाद मैं क्या करना चाहता हूँ? So the next thing after monitoring, I want to send this all on this particular interface G 0 by 0. So I will do that monitor session 20 again, and I want to send this traffic to destination which is pointing toward the Palo Alto firewall. So I will use the interface, and then I will use the gigabit Ethernet, and that is GE 0 by 0, and though gigabit Ethernet 0 by 0, and further nothing is required, and press enter. So already monitoring session is created. There might be my old configuration is there. So let me just remove that. Some old configuration will be there. So let me just remove that. See, this 10 is already configured. So let me just remove that. This 10 one might be in the previous lab. I did the configuration. So at a time, one session is going to be done. Okay. So this has been removed. So if I just go and configure here, now this is done. So show run section monitor. If you run this command, you will find only two-liner command. In one-liner command, see both keyword has been removed. In first line command, you are saying whatever the traffic coming on this interface, you just have to monitor and send to this interface. This is the second line, right? First line, you're just saying capture every traffic, either in or either out. And after capturing in second line, sending to this interface. So we are done with this configuration. No other configuration is going to require. Most important thing, if you check that particular interface status G 0 by 0, you will find that this port is under monitoring and it is down. See, this is the monitoring and down. So this is normal behavior. If you see such kind of port, not be panic, not be confused. You understand this is the span port, special port. They just capture the traffic and their responsibility just send the capture packet to the connected device. Might be your wires are PC, other sniper server, or might be the Palo Alto firewall. This is normal behavior. Now we're done with this configuration. We just have to go on the Palo Alto firewall. After going in the Palo Alto firewall, we just have to go on the interface. And in this interface, we just have to go on the interface Ethernet one by one. And after going on the interface, you just have to select the interface type as a tap, right? So after selecting a tap, you just have to define the security zone. So I can use the security zone as a tap. I can create the new security zone. And nothing is further going to require. No IP, nothing security policy, because the same zone traffic is coming. So no security policy is going to require. And I click OK. But if you see before clicking, if I'm trying to ping the IP address, there is no logs are available in the Palo Alto firewall. You can see if I go in the monitor, you can see there's no logs, no packet is capturing. But once I did the commit, because I make this configuration as a tap mode, this interface. So once I'll make this commit, my interface will come up and my packet will start capturing. So there is some kind of the error. Device config system update schedule, their database. So this is something that is giving the error for the device. Let me try it again. Some kind of the bug it is. Oh, what is happening? Let me see here. Let me try one more time. This is virtual firewall issue. There is no other issue. Probably it will commit now. Sometimes their database not sync, so it will give such kind of funny errors. So now it's done. So you can see this is pinging, and if I'll check the monitor now, because the commit, see every capture start happening here. See now whatever the communication is going to happen between this PC to this interfaces, it is going to capture and send to this Palo Alto firewall. So now it's pinging 1 to 1, 1.1. See 1 traffic is showing here. If I just change it to the any other destination, likewise I change to the 8.8.8, you'll find that 8.8 also starts showing here traffic. You can see here, see 8.8. So all traffic start capturing. All traffic start capturing on your devices, whatever the communication. If I ping 4.2.2.2, so ping 4.2.2.2, 4.2.2.2, it is also going to be captured. So you see here, your 4.2.2 is also going to capture. So every communication is going to capture in very nicely for the monitoring purpose, right? So this is how it is going to happen. This is how it is going to happen for the tap mode. Any question for the tap mode, guys? Because last thing I want to conclude today virtual wire and we'll close this. Any question in tap mode? Meanwhile, let me just start the lab for the virtual wire. We can discuss concept
Sir,
for
tab
tab.
mode हम लोग only for we can use this mode for checking the session or
Yes, only for the monitoring to get the visibility of the network और ट्रबल शूटिंग इसके लिए आप यूज करते हो टैप मोड बेसिकली और कुछ
ओके
नहीं
तो
यूज करते
ये
आप
मैं एक पोर्ट के ऊपर एक्स्ट्रा एक कॉन्फ़िगरेशन करके मैं इसको लगा सकता हूँ स्विच के थ्रू राइट एक
हाँ
ब्लूटूथ पे
बस आप किसी पोर्ट पे कॉन्फ़िगरेशन करके आप इसको लगा सकते हो किसी पोर्ट पे कॉन्फ़िगरेशन एक एक्स्ट्रा करके इस पे आप इसको लगा सकते हो
तो
तो
इसमें अगर
टैप
कुछ
मोड
अटैक वगैरह है तो हम लोग को वो पता चलेगा क्या लॉग्स वगैरह में
नहीं एक्चुअली अटैक का नहीं पता चल जाएगा अटैक का नहीं पता चलेगा उसके लिए आपको वी वायर डिप्लॉयमेंट करना पड़ेगा ठीक है
ओके तो
जितनी
ये सब
पैकेट
पिंगिंग
कम्युनिकेशन
ओनली
होंगे ना हाँ जो आपका एक्चुअल ट्रैफिक जा रहा है ना कम्युनिकेशन उसके
हाँ
बारे में पता चलेगा
ओके कैन अंडरस्टैंड
अटैक के बारे में नहीं पता चलेगा आपको अब जो हमारे पास एक इंटरफेस टाइप स्पेशल है उसको हम बोलते हैं वर्चुअल वायर ठीक है तो टैप मोड हमने पढ़ लिया
Can we
हाँ
decrypt the traffic while using in tap mode?
no only you can see the traffic decryption is not going to happen it's like just monitoring this like why wires are what wires
Okay.
do similar just capture the traffic and read that no other action is going to happen no decryption no encryption no other action is going to happen no
Okay.
any security policy is going to happen it just you can see this is a tap mode diagram. From here, the traffic is coming from the client, and this firewall is just accepting all the traffic, whatever the communication is, it means intercepting all the traffic for just for my monitoring purpose. That's all. Okay.
Okay, got it.
Now we having another type of deployment, which we know as a virtual wire deployment, right? So if I talk about this virtual wire deployments, what that mean? So virtual wire deployment, you just think about this way. You having one of the WAN connection, right? This is the ISP. And this is your one of the router, right? And behind this router, you're having a LAN connection. This is the LAN design. So might be the one of the 192.168.10.1 10 IP is configured here, and here's the WAN IP where the public IP is configured. You have taken /30 IP address. One might be here, two might be here, could be the 123.10.10.0/30 subnet. So one could be there, two could be there here. Now there is no firewall. There is no firewall in your network, right? So you want to just, inspect the all traffic which is coming from the LAN going to the WAN, and similar all traffic which is coming from the WAN going to the LAN. If you want to do inspection, how you can do that? There is two ways to do that. You sorry guys, I don't know what is happening here. This is frustrating. Confirm. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, let's start. So I was telling, I don't know yaar, what is happening. Seriously, there is a major problem. Let me just start this lab in different way. It is not going to work here. I will go here, new private window. Okay. So I was talking like, let's say suppose we having a scenario when we just want to connect the firewall between the ISP and my router, where I have a limitation. I cannot change the IP address. Whatever the IP address is configured, 123.1 here, 123.2 here. This need not be changed, right? But still you just want to use the firewall, but your IP should be the same. So what is going to happen? Whatever the packet is going to be through from firewall to out, or it is going to in through network, all packet is going to be inspect. All packet is going to be inspect, but there is no routing. There is no switching. Means you can see this firewall is basically acting as a cable. This is the physical cable. It's just connecting the two ends devices. This firewall is acting as a physical cable, just connecting the two end cable, and in between the one IP is here, another IP is here. So you are not assigning even the IP address on the firewall interfaces. No IP address on the firewall interfaces. Just the cable is connecting here and cable is connecting here. So by using this deployment, we known as a virtual wire deployment, to just inspect the traffic without doing any kind of the routing. No need to do any routing, no need to do any switching. Whenever you're having such deployment, no IP configuration, no VLAN configuration, just inspect the traffic that is known as the vWire deployment. You got it? What I mean?
Like transparent mode, right, sir?
Yes,
Only in and out
exactly.
traffic
Yes,
we can monitor and we
yes,
can configure it, right? So for security
yeah,
purpose only.
yeah. Transparent mode deployment. That is a more appropriate word. When we are
Yes.
talking about the vWire, that is a transparent mode deployment. For you, it's like the cable connected, but still your all inspection is going to happen. So this is deployment is known as a vWire mode. So that's why you can see there is no routing. Your virtual wire deployment is the firewall is installed transparently on your network segment by binding two ports together, and you should be used only when no switching, no routing is needed, right? A virtual wire deployment allow the following convenience, like you can see here, no routing, no switching, and we can just process two interfaces together and bind them together so they can start working as a virtual wire mode. So how it is going to happen? Let's understand. So say this is two PC are connected here, right? Two PC are connected, right? And if you see on this two PC, might be we having the IP address. So let me just put on top on this PC1, another PC1. So I'll put on here on this tab. This is the one router I'll put here on the top. And this is the another router I'll put here on the top, right? So see, this is the ISP router. This is my another C router. This is the PC. And if I run the show IP, this doesn't having any IP address. This show IP, this also not having IP address. If I need to assign IP address on this VPC1, so 192.168.10.1. So here I'll go and IP 172.16.10.1/24. Gateway is 172.16.10.1. This is the this should be 10. Yeah, it should be 2. Okay, let me just take a 2 as per topology. 2, it's done. Here I'll assign the IP address 192. This is LAN subnet. So I'll go here and assign the IP address. IP 192.168.10.2/24, 192.168.10.1. Let me see. Yeah, this is correct. So I'll assign this one here. Router should having the IP address. Let me just check here. Yeah, this one having the IP address already assigned here. Already assigned IP address. So this PC should reach the gateway. Let me just try to ping 190.168.10.1. It's reachable here also. This gateway should be reachable. This is reachable. So this PC reached to this gateway. This PC reached to this gateway. But I want to make the end-to-end reachability. How it is possible? So I have to do some kind of the configuration in this firewall where they can reach to end-to-end. How it is possible? So I just have to take the firewall access. How I can take the firewall access? I have to just use this VPC. And in this VPC, I just use the browser. Similar, you use that because I changed the NAT connection. So I am the out of the my LAN network. This is new ISP. So I just use the similar, and here I'll go in the browser. And probably I'll check the firewall IP address. What is IP address firewall? This is 26 again. So I will go here and I will do HTTPS 26. So I'll just try to log in advanced. I will go here and log in it. Admin and admin, and I just log in it from here. Login. Admin, new password 1212. So I will use admin, new password. I will use it from here. So how virtual wire is going to be configured? Just understand. So one thing you just notice this, you can see this interface having this IP address, this having this IP address. In between we having the firewall. See from the router one, I will try to ping this IP address. They are the same subnet IP address. They is not going to ping because firewall is not going to allow. So see here is a 10.10.1. If I try to ping 10.10.10.2, it is not pinging because your firewall is blocking the connections because we are not doing anything on the firewall. So we just have to do some kind of configuration for the vWire. So we just have to go in the network and whatever the two interface, Ethernet 1x2 and 1, we just make them as a vWire. So I'll go on the 1x1 and here I'll just go and make as a virtual wire. See, and the virtual wire name should be, you can put anyway, any name, likewise a virtual router, it's the virtual wire. The wire is going to be divided into the two part, that is a virtual wire, right? And security zone, again, you can put anything, like I can put that, vWire again. The security zone is also vWire, and that virtual router is a vWire, or I can write more virtual wire. This is my virtual wire name, or vWire, let it be anything. No other configuration is going to require. I'll click OK. Security zone and the virtual wire is the same. It is going to take, there's no problem. Similarly, I'll go on the Ethernet 2 also. I will make the interface type as a virtual wire. And once you do, you just have to define the security zone should be different. Sorry, security zone should be the in or out here. So I make a mistake, not the virtual. So I'll just make the security zone here is a out because this is the different interface. So out zone. So I'll make this out zone because this is the 1x2. Here the traffic will go out, here in. Anything you can define, here should be the in zone. So this security zone should be the in zone. So I'll create the in zone. In zone. So I'll create in zone here and I'll click no advanced, nothing, no IP, nothing is required. You have done with this configuration. Once you've done this one, you just go in the virtual wire here. If you see that these two ports are mapped in the virtual wire, and it's done. Nothing is going to require. If you want to tag some special VLAN ID which need to be passed only, you can tag it here. By default, every VLAN is going to pass. But no VLAN, no routing, no switching is going to happen. So now it's done and we're done with the configuration. But if I commit it, even this is not going to ping. If I commit it, R1 is not going to ping R2. Why? Because your traffic is coming from in zone and want to go out zone. There's no policy. So it is not going to work. So let me just create one policy as well. Let me first test it and I'll create one policy. So this has been done. 10 minutes more, guys. We'll finish it. No need to worry. And if I try to ping it, it is not pinging still. So what do we have to do? We just have to create one policy. And if we want to ping from here to here, one policy is going to require. And you want to ping from here to here, another policy is going to require. So we have to bi-directional policy is going to require. So let me create one go because you know that. So I'll create the in or I can in to out. This is one policy in to out. And in this, I'll just define my security in zone, any source address, I'll put it, and out zone, any source address. Leave it any for time being. And if you want to clone this, just clone this policy to make the duplicate policy. So you can just clone it and here you can change the out to in. So clone is just clone the policy to just save your time. So it will clone the similar policy and change the definition. So I'll create here out. And now your destination will be the in. So here will be the in because we are doing the reverse. So see bidirectional policy. So either way traffic is going to come, it is going to allow in the firewall. And once I'll do that commit, my ping should start working from the R1 to R2 at least. But they will not work from end to end because there is no routing available. Let me check OSPF is configured or not. Show run section OSPF. Yeah, OSPF is configured. See, so OSPF is came up because both sides OSPF configured. So we just have to done the OSPF configuration as well. So OSPF configure network advertise. So they build the OSPF neighborship also. So let me just check. First, let me check whether this my point-to-point ping well or not. So see, I'm able to reach 10.10.2 is able to reach. Even I try to hear one IP address, it is reachable. So my these two start pinging to each other. These two start pinging to each other, right? And if I try to check the logs, right? If you'll find the logs also, everything will find. If you want to allow block, everything will find in the even the logs. If you ping it here again, you will find the live log also. See, these logs are showing here. Even you want to block something, you can block it. Even want to allow, you can allow it. But no routing, no switching. Here, if I want to ping from this PC to this PC, it is absolutely possible. Let me show you, and then I'll show you how it is going to block. So VPC1, if I try to ping the another IP address, 192.168.10.2, see it is reachable. Why it is reachable? Because I run the OSPF between these two devices, here and here. And I advertise the LAN in the OSPF from here and LAN in the here. How it is done? Let me show you. So if you go in the R1 configuration, if you run the configuration show run section OSPF, you can see I advertise the router OSPF with these two networks. So no OSPF membership is going to build from this router, this network and this network 10. I advertise from the OSPF. Similar in the R2, I go there. You can see here show run section OSPF. You guys can run this configuration in your lab. 10 and 192. Why 192? Because 192 is a connector. So I'm assuming you know the how the OSPF membership is going to build between two routers, but only you just have to complete the vWire configuration. The last thing, they are communicating to each other, but I want to block this PC communication to this PC. How can I do that? So you just have to go in the policy. It will do the blocking. So let me just VPC1. So let me just go here and minus T. See, it is pinging. But if I create one policy to just not allow the communication from this IP to this, but if I try to ping from this one, it should be reachable. So let me show you from router. I'll take a source, this IP address. I'll ping this PC. It will be reachable. But from this IP address, it will be not reachable. So I'll go in the policy in to out, and I'll say in this in to out policy, source this one, but source IP, if it is matching 10.10.10.2, if it is going to destination, which is 20.20.20.2, I want to block this, deny. And rest thing I want to allow. Even after this all blocking, if any other traffic is coming, let me just clone for in to out. If any other traffic coming from any source it is coming, I want to allow. For any destination, if it is coming, I want to allow. But the first, if it is matching for particular source to destination, should be the block. So I'll make as a allow. So these two policy I created. So in the first policy, I'm saying if this IP is going to match for this IP destination, you should block it. So if this PC is going to talk to this PC, it is going to block. Oh, sorry, I make a mistake. Sorry, 172 should be there, not 10.10.10. Let me just correct it. Should be 172.16.10.2. Right, and this should be destination is 192.168.10.2. This is destination. This is done. Block. So in this policy, I'm saying if this 172 want to talk, this PC should be blocked. Right now it is talking. And in addition of that, I am creating another policy. Rest everything should be allowed. Only this PC should be blocked. So let me just commit it. After commit, you will see that this communication should be blocked. Just wait.
So do you require OSPF configuration?
No, I just configure. No, static route you can use. I just configure for your knowledge.
We can use, no? If we have two sides and both sides is configured as a MPLS, so we can put this firewall, virtual wire.
Static, yes, we can put it, and static route is going to work. No problem for you.
Okay.
So see, this commit has been done and this packet has been dropped. So this PC stopped dropping the packet. means this PC communication has been blocked. But if I go in the router, I take this source, this PC communication, it is still going to work. Let me just ping you. So let me just ping 192.168.10.2 with the source. You guys able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So if his source take as 172, let me just. Oh, I lost it. Let me see you. This was the last thing. Suddenly light gone and the connection has been.
So policy is pending, na, sir? As of now, we have only basic configuration, right?
Policy is also okay. There's no issue. Let me just.
Because security policy we didn't apply, na, as of now. Only we can
No, we
configure
applied. We applied everything. Just give me one thing. Let me just try it. Why this has been dropped? Okay, now it's okay. Admin. Pankaj. Let me just try it.
बहुत स्पीड में सर लेक्चर जा रहा है लेक्चर बहुत स्पीड में जा रहा है
कोई बात नहीं, स्लो कर देंगे। आप लोग फीडबैक दे ही नहीं रहे हो तो मुझे लग रहा है आप लोग को समझ में आ रहा है। आप लोग बोल दो मैं स्लो कर।
7 o'clock का जो टाइमिंग है बहुत क्रिटिकल टाइमिंग हो जाता है प्रॉब्लम उसमें ऑफिस से यहाँ लेफ्ट होने का या कुछ काम के अंदर स्टक हो जाता है दैट्स द प्रॉब्लम सर।
कोई बात नहीं, आगे जहां समझना है मुझे स्टॉप कर दिया करो आप लोग कि मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा है, तब मुझे पता कैसे चलेगा आप लोग जब तक बताओगे नहीं तब तक। ठीक है, तो मैं यहाँ से पिंग करता हूँ। 1 मिनट इसको टेस्ट कर लेते हैं, फिर मैं बात करता हूँ। 1 मिनट इसको टेस्ट कर लेता हूँ। आपके यहाँ से बहुत नॉइज आ रहा था, उससे पहले अपने आप को थोड़ा सा नॉइज फ्री एरिया में लाओ ताकि आपकी बात समझ में आए हमें। बहुत ज्यादा नॉइज है आपके पास, थोड़ा सा क्लियर कर लो ना, क्योंकि क्लास टाइम में बड़ा डिस्टर्बेंस होता है नॉइज अगर आता है तो। ट्रू विथ सोर्स मैं ट्राई करता हूँ 172 इससे 16.10.1 से। तो देखो ये पिंग हो रहा है, बट अगर मैं इस पीसी से पिंग कर रहा था सेम चीज तो ये पिंग नहीं हो रहा था। क्यों नहीं हो रहा था? क्योंकि हमारी पॉलिसी में इसको डिनाई कर दिया। देखो ये आरटीओ दिख रहा था आपको, तो ये पिंग इसलिए नहीं हो रहा था कि हमारे पीसी इसको डिनाई कर रही थी। तो अगर मैं फायरवॉल के अंदर जाता हूँ, इसके अंदर अगर मैं जाता हूँ पीसी के अंदर, देखोगे अगर आप लोग तो एक मिनट, 26 था ना इसके आईपी। लॉगिन https 192.168.1.26, not 126, should be 26. एडमिन, ये सारी चीजें हो गई। इसको क्या हो गया? अभी तो कॉन्फ़िगर किया है इसको। तो हमारे पास जो लॉग्स वेरिफिकेशन का चीज है मैं आपको दिखाना चाह रहा था। देखो, तो यहाँ पे आप लोगों को दिख रहा है डिनाई में आपका 330 पैकेट लॉस्ट हुए, देख रहे हो आप लोग। तो बेसिकली आपकी जो कम्युनिकेशन है दैट इज गोइंग टू ब्लॉक बिकॉज ऑफ द पॉलिसी जो हमने क्रिएट किया था। इस सोर्स से इस डेस्टिनेशन का आपका कम्युनिकेशन रुक गया पॉलिसी के हिसाब से। तो फायरवॉल आपका इंस्पेक्शन कर रहा है और आपको पैकेट को ब्लॉक कर रहा है इन समरी, ठीक है, लेकिन राउटिंग स्विचिंग कुछ भी नहीं कर रहा है। यही मैं आप लोगों को दिखाना चाह रहा था। अब बताओ क्या क्वेश्चन है, तौसीफ आप बताइए क्या आप बता रहे थे, क्या समझ नहीं आया मुझे बताइए। मैं बिल्कुल आपकी हेल्प करूंगा, कोई फास्ट नहीं जाएगा, एकदम बिल्कुल स्लो कर दूंगा, बस आप बताइए कि कहाँ समझ नहीं आया आपको।
सर 1 आवर्स का लेक्चर तो मेरे से मिस हो गया है, तो वो
हाँ
वीडियो
कोई बात नहीं, एक काम करिए आप पहले ना अभी पुराने
ये
2 दिन का
टाइम।
छुट्टी है, अभी 2 दिन का छुट्टी है कल परसों का, ठीक है। आप देख लीजिए थर्सडे को पहले
हाँ
जितने क्वेश्चंस होंगे मैं उसको लूंगा, फिर क्लास स्टार्ट करूंगा, ठीक है। मुझे कोई जल्दी नहीं है, ठीक है।
यस सर,
हाँ ठीक है।
यस सर।
और
और
थर्सडे को
ये
जब क्लास,
टाइमिंग का कुछ
सुनिए
हो
थर्सडे
सकता
को
है
जब
क्या
क्लास
सर?
करिएगा तो थोड़ा सा ऐसी जगह से क्लास करिएगा जहाँ पे बिल्कुल नॉइज ना हो बैकग्राउंड, ठीक है, ताकि क्वेश्चन पूछेगा तो इरिटेशन ना हो, ठीक है।
यस सर,
ठीक है ना, प्लीज थोड़ा
यस यस
रिक्वेस्ट है
यस,
आपसे,
पक्का।
क्योंकि हम
यस
पढ़ाई
सर,
करते हैं तो हमारा दिमाग ना मतलब बिल्कुल पढ़ाई पे होना चाहिए, ठीक है।
नहीं सर सही बात
चलिए,
है।
तो गाइज
ये
व्हाट
सब
विल डू,
टाइमिंग का थोड़ा सा कुछ हो सकता है क्या?
अभी टाइमिंग का नहीं हो सकता, आप रिपीट कर सकते हो अगले बैच में आकर, कुछ चीज अगर डाउट लगता है तो आप कैसे, दिक्कत नहीं है, अगले बैच
ओके
हमारा 8 बजे से हो जाएगा तो उसमें रिपीट कर लेना, ठीक है, कोई दिक्कत की बात नहीं है।
ओके, ठीक, ठीक है सर।
सो अभी मैं ये बोल रहा था कि आप लोग को अभी मैंने 3-4 टॉपिक पढ़ाया, 2 घंटे का हमारा लेक्चर हो गया। इसकी वजह ये थी कि थोड़ा सा मैं लंबा इसलिए खींचा क्योंकि हमारी 2 दिन की छुट्टी है, ठीक है। तो अभी मैं आप लोगों को बोलता हूँ कि अभी क्या करो आप लोग 2 दिन में अगर आपको टाइम मिले, सो ट्राई टू रिकैप, ठीक है, कि मैंने क्या बताया आप लोग को। मैंने बताया आप लोग को कि इंटरविलेन राउटिंग क्या होती है। आई थिंक सबको पता है इंटरविलेन राउटिंग, सबने राउटिंग किया होगा। हमने बताया, अभी एक चीज मैंने छोड़ दिया, लेयर 3 इंटरफेस कॉन्फ़िगरेशन, जो बहुत ईजी है, मैं बार बार करते रहूंगा, कोई दिक्कत कोई। दूसरा मैंने सब इंटरफेस बताया जो बहुत इजी टॉपिक है। डीएससीपी भी सबको पता है, राउटर भी सबको पता है। तो अभी तक तो मैंने कुछ ऐसा बताया ही नहीं, एक्सेप्ट ये 2 अलग टाइप के इंटरफेस जो आपने कभी नहीं सुना है। ये सारी चीजें आपने सुन रखी हैं जो मैंने आज बताया क्लास में। सिक्योरिटी जोन बताया, ये पहले क्लास में बताया था, बहुत डिटेल में मैंने समझाने की कोशिश की थी, तो वो आपको नया था। ये सारी चीजें थोड़ा सा मैंने इसलिए बताया जल्दी थोड़ा सा, क्योंकि आप लोगों को पहले से पता है, और मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि इसमें ज्यादा टाइम देने की जरूरत नहीं है, आप लोग क्विकली अंडरस्टैंड कर जाओगे। अब रह गई बात वर्चुअल वायर की एंड टैप मोड की, ये 2 चीज आप लोग को न्यू हो सकती है। तो आप लोग क्या करना, पहले रिकॉर्डिंग देखना, आपके डॉक्यूमेंटेशन अवेलेबल हैं, बुक्स अवेलेबल हैं, सब कुछ उसको रेफर करना है। सबसे पहले हम थर्सडे को जब क्लास करेंगे तो आप लोग से मैं Q&A सेशन लूंगा, जितने देर का बोलोगे, अगर एक क्लास लगता है तो पूरा एक क्लास Q&A सेशन होगा। आप लोगों को जितनी भी क्वेरी होंगे, जितनी भी डिबेट होगी, पहले उसको क्लियर करूंगा, फिर मैं आगे जाकर आपको मॉड्यूल पढ़ाऊंगा। जब तक आप लोग यस नहीं बोलोगे तब तक नहीं पढ़ाऊंगा, ठीक है। दिस इज माई कमिटमेंट। लेकिन आप लोगों को मेरे साथ साथ आप लोगों को मेहनत करना पड़ेगा, काम करना पड़ेगा, ठीक है। तो कोई दिक्कत की बात नहीं है। आप लोग थोड़ा सा इस पे ध्यान देना कि वर्चुअल वायर क्या होता है, क्योंकि इंटरव्यू में पूछे जाते हैं। टैप मोड क्या होता है, इसका मतलब समझ लेना और इसकी लैब कर लेना एक बार बस, ठीक है। तो आज के लिए खत्म करें, आप लोग की अगर
Uh,
अनुमति हो।
I have one questions about
या
virtual
प्लीज,
WAN.
या टेल
So
में।
when we are configuring firewall in between the two routers, so one are these router visible each other? Because let's say we configure the protocol OSPF. At that time, continuous hello packets are sending by each router. So when we configure this, John, by default it is blocking the traffic. So how it is the traffic is means the router is visible for each other?
So for that, we have to enable the policy. So I create one policy in any, you can see here, any protocol, any services. So you means the OSPF hello is allowed also. OSPF protocol is also allowed. If I just deny this now, if I just remove this one, your OSPF membership is going to be down. Let me just do that. Let me just disable this policy. And once I deny, there is one policy. This is just denying that this particular source and destination. There is no allow for the OSPF. So your might be I can disable this one also, or everything I disable. So your OSPF is never going to come because intra zone it everything it deny. So your OSPF is going to be down. So you just have to allow the policy. By allowing the policy, you are confirming, you are inviting to build the communication for any protocol. So if I show you after login to this router, probably you'll see that show IP OSPF neighbor. It is up right now, but suddenly it will go down after few seconds. So Chirag, that mean is you just have to allow the policy where all protocols, all destinations should be allowed. Whatever
Okay.
destination, yeah. If you're not going to allow, it is not going to build the neighborship. It will down shortly, probably after some time. Just wait, we'll check that also. There is no problem. If I clear OSPF, it will never come up. Let me check on this router, what is happening. Still up, still up. Why is still up? We commit now. Commit has been done. So OSPF should be down. It's taking longer time.
That should be 40 seconds, right? After
Yeah,
it is
by
hold on
default,
timer.
40-second hold time timer. Let me just check 34, 36. Somehow it just stuck. Let me just clear IP OSPF, okay? Clear IP OSPF process. It will never come up again. See, never down, but it will never come up again. Clear IP OSPF process. It should be down automatically without any clearance. So never is down and should not come automatically because the zone are difference. Show IP OSPF never. Why it's building? Try to build OSPF never save. And let me just check. What is happening? In zone, out zone. Should not. Security zone are difference and we just don't have any policy. Never. It should never build the OSPF, even not try the OSPF never save. It is trying, but not.
Fully establish the neighbor safe.
Yeah, but instead there is no hello should be exchanged because they are completely different zone, na?
Yes.
So OSPF never. It is correct. I have tested multiple times, but they are not going to form. I don't know why this is showing. Okay, Yusuf, you can drop. There is no further discussion. Thank you so much. And so no worries, Chirag. I will check this one. Okay, I'll probably confirm this one in the next class. Okay. Makes sense?
No problem. Yeah.
This
okay.
is not going to build OSPF anyhow. You can see here, it is not building, but somehow it is showing some kind of buggy behavior, which should not be there because if you can see the peer is not pingable. If I try to ping its peer, na, it should be not pingable.
Yes.
Let me show. It is not pingable. So how OSPF can be built if the IP is not reachable? It makes sense, right?
Right. Yes.
Yes, this is a buggy behavior. It's not something we just have to put a lot of things. Might be I'll start the firewall. This will be the issue will be resolved. You know, when I after logout and login, it asks me again the new username and password. Even I set it one more time.
Yes.
So the firewall is doing some buggy behavior. So this could be the one reason.
Okay.
Okay, guys. So have a great, I can say,
okay,
further
sir.
evening. Yeah, tell me.
Sir, give me a number and also where I can get the training materials on the.
So can you just talk to Abhishek sir? Abhishek sir will basically give you my WhatsApp number. Okay. Can you just text him and he will definitely reach out to me. I'll pass your all confirmation to you. Okay.
Okay. For sir, training material.
He will
So,
also arrange everything for you. No need to worry. Okay. Just talk to
okay.
him. He will work for you and definitely he will settle down everything. I just give the single point of contact for this all training for Abhishek sir, right? Rest other people will doing a lot of things, but he will like handling everything for this batch. Okay. So just keep in sync with him. Okay.
Okay, sir. Sure.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you guys. Bye bye. Take care.